Gotcha. For the NL West, this year, I think there's just, a flip-flop of two of the teams that have been near the top in that division for the last couple of years, but I've got it going Padres, Dodgers up top this year. Padres, they return the majority of their team. They've added, Fernando Tatis coming back from injury. I think that's going to be a huge boost about 3 weeks into the season. So he'll fulfill his suspension there, and then he'll come right back out onto the field. But kind of like lock up Machado on a long-term deal. You bring over Xander Bogaerts, which is just like another perennial all-star, and then you have Juan Soto there from last year now, kind of comfortable in his spot. He's at home now. You look all throughout that offense. It's MVP candidates. It's not even like all-stars. It's like legitimately you have 3 MVP candidates. Xander Bogaerts is a, year in, year out all-star. Jake Cronenworth is a really good baseball player. Just really like what they have, first off on the hitting side. Their pitching depth is really solid too. They brought in a lot of 4th, 5th type starters at the end of the rotation with Seth Lugo. I know they got Nick Martinez still back there. But they've got Snell, Darvish, Musgrove. I think they have Cole Hamels on a rookie deal too, but it's just kind of nice for them to just, like the Mets, just have a lot of depth in the areas you need them to get through the year. I feel like they just have so much star power, to get them through that. I have no concerns about the Padres going into the year and, getting into the playoffs comfortably. The Dodgers, I just have them down a bit just because they've lost, Trey Turner, Justin Turner. They lost Gavin Lux for the year with a torn ACL in spring training. Cody Bellinger, not that, he had a great year last year. It was actually pretty bad, but it's just kind of like a lot of that heart and soul that was on the, the World Series team is starting to go. And in a way they've kind of, retooled a little bit in this off season just to like have them be competitive, but they didn't really go out and shell out a lot of money to retain players. I think everybody kind of knows they have Shohei Ohtani in their sights for next offseason, and probably a good chance that they land him. But it's just, I think for this year, that's kind of like that bridge year while, Walker Buehler returns from, his injury. The rotation, you got Kershaw there, Urias, Gonsolin. They brought over Syndergaard, who I'm not like really big on, but it's a lot of what ifs. I think toward the end of the rotation, they always seem to like manufacture good starters, which is, just what they're good at. And I love their bullpen, but I have them comfortably in second and making the playoffs. I think they'll take a step back. In third, I have the Diamondbacks. I think him is exciting. They've got a lot of young hitting coming up. Jake McCarthy, Corbin Carroll, Alec Thomas from Chicago is, in their outfield mix as well. They signed Longoria. They returned Christian Walker, who had a lot of home runs last year, and they made a pretty big deal with the Blue Jays to get rid of Varsho and bring over Lourdes Gurriel for left and Moreno at catcher, like we already mentioned. But, Carson Kelly is also behind the dish. I just feel like they have a really solid offense. I love their top 2 in the rotation with Zac Gallen and Merrill Kelly. They're probably a little bit thin toward the end of the rotation, which is probably a knock on them. But I just see it as like they've made additions and they're kind of moving their way forward in their progression instead of taking like a step back or two. So I just like the momentum that comes into this season for them. It's another, kind of like a growth year for them. The Giants I have in 4th place. I like the rotation 1 to 6. I think Logan Webb is good. And they have 5 other capable starters that kind of fill out the rest of their rotation. They're padded there, which is nice for them. That'll keep them in ball games. But you look around their lineup, not to get an Aaron Judge or a Carlos Correa. Not that was the answer to everything, but it was like such a backbreaker for them to just not go out and, pull in some new star power for that team, because you look all around and it's like the guys that they actually did land, like a Michael Conforto and a, Mitch Haniger. Like, I like the talents there. They just haven't been on the field as much. So it's like, it just gets hard for me to look at them and say, this team's going to be able to produce, across the board every single game. I just feel like this is a team that'll play very low scoring games throughout the year. And I just don't think they'll be enough to, get them over the hump in that sense. And then finally I got the Rockies. I just don't think they did really anything to, improve their chances. I don't see a lot of young talent coming up in their system that's really exciting. I know Ezekiel Tovar is taking shortstop, which I've heard good things about. Chris Bryant's coming back from injury in left field. Like, we'll see if he puts together, a good campaign in Colorado after being injured last year. It's like, I don't know. I feel like they never really want to fully turn the page. They've got, Charlie Blackmon still, on their, like, out in their outfield playing some DH. They got CJ Cron. It's like, they're not really, like, they've got enough guys, but they just have a collection of guys. Not really like they have a strategy there. So I just don't see them having enough to really compete at all this year.
Those are great takes. I like your take with the Diamondbacks. That's definitely a team that I think is emerging. I think one thing is like that pitching rotation. I think has the potential to just be deadly. Maybe their bullpen isn't that great, so that's definitely a big kind of red flag for that team. But their hitting, it's kind of enough. But then, when you have that pitching, you can definitely win some games there. So that definitely is a team I think is on the up and up. Even with losing Dalton Varsho, there's a lot of potential I think on that team, led by that pitching. So Merrill Kelly, he's shown to be a stud. And then also Zac Gallen. I mean, he could potentially be kind of like a Cy Young in the future. I think a lot of people are predicting him like top 5 in terms of Cy Young candidates there. So we'll see in terms of how they progress. If they maybe I kind of see them in a way like the Mariners maybe potentially maybe just a couple years ago. So maybe not this year. I think they'll have more wins this year, but maybe next year I could see them adding in some free agents here and there to fill in some roles, and then filling in that bullpen a little bit, and they could potentially be a contender then. Is what I'm imagining. Again, with that pitching, they can certainly do a lot of fun stuff there. So, I do agree with the Dodgers. A lot of injuries, a lot of what ifs, or Noah, like we're relying on him to fill some innings and everything. Like, when was his last healthy season, or when has he been throwing 100? On every other pitch, basically. So those days are gone, I think, for him. Past their prime type of pitchers, I think they're almost kind of relying too much on there. They do have obviously some other good pitchers there that I think will complement their hitting just enough for sure. And then they always have a pretty decent bullpen. It always seems like they have good pitching. So, but their offense, it'll be interesting what happens without the trade Turner and everything. And they're just running into injuries, kind of left and right. And then no Justin Turner too. So where all these runs going to come from, I think would be the big question. Good thing they do have, they still have Mookie Betts there. So they have enough hitting power. It's just not your usual Dodgers of previous seasons, I think. And then that really just makes things a little bit easier, I feel like, for the San Diego Padres, right? That is such a loaded lineup, it's ridiculous. So I definitely agree with you on that. I think the Padres, like, out of all the divisions, I feel pretty confident about them winning that one. Again, with the regression, I feel like, for the Dodgers, and I don't see the Giants competing for the top of the division there. So
yeah. I mean, for the Dodgers, like, one other piece is, like, when you look up the middle, as far as shortstop, second base, center field, last year you're looking at Bellinger, Trey Turner, even had Gavin Lux at second base, and I feel like just this year you're looking at Miguel Rojas from the Marlins coming over, Miguel Vargas, who's a rookie, and then you've got Klay Thompson's brother out in center field, who just went through our minor league system long times ago, and all of a sudden he's back, like, in a starting job somewhere. So it's just like, it's a little head scratching from a team like the Dodgers, who, like the Yankees and other big market clubs, is like always out spending as much, cash as they pretty much want. And it just feels like they're not like intentionally taking a step back to lose games, but they're just like not competing in contracts or wanting to like reach that luxury, tax threshold for this year, at least.
They are. I think they are holding out for Shohei. I mean, it's pretty obvious. And like we mentioned, like, the whole why are so many players they just like to chill around the division, right? Or go to division rivals. Yeah, they don't want to move too far. And hey, look, this would be perfect for Shohei. He doesn't have to move too far and plays for the Dodgers, who can outspend everybody basically, right? But they're just choosing not to because they want to pay you. So, we'll see what happens there. But yeah, I think the Dodgers will regress. We'll see if it's worth it for them though, if they are able to land Shohei in the future though. But yeah, they're just not going to look too good, I think, this season.